All right, so if I do this, can you see what's on my screen?
Yep.
All right, so, but I want it to loop, so, all right, so BM is Brianna. Oops, hold on. Yeah, we like this one from last week, right? The follow the directions pretty closely, the wheels, the lines in the road. They're all, everything is working. So this is a very good example of the card working into infinity. And like we said last week, the thing that you can do that ignites that part of your mind is now go and copy everything 10 times and put a cloud in the background that's just moving very slowly, just very slowly in the background. That's like a cool idea there. All right, wrong folder. All right, this is Brianna's Falling Leaf. So those look good. I like the one falling in front and the midground. Okay, looks good. Damien. I don't know if Damien's here right now. Damien, are you here? Damien is not here. Elsie. So we looked at this last week. And did you fix this yet? Elise, or she went away from us. Elise. There you are. So did you fix this yet?
No.
You know how to fix it?
Yes.
Redo
Yeah.
the road. Okay. All right. So, and then I didn't see your falling leaf.
Yeah. First, I didn't realize I needed to send them in again this week. So.
No, not again. This is the same folder.
Okay. It should be in there. If it's not, then.
No,
I'll
no, you're
send
lying.
it.
You're
Okay.
lying. I could tell. Hey. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I lied. You're right. I lied. Oh, yeah. We saw this one last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's working pretty good. And like I said, if you could get the mid-ground ones to fall, that would be better. All right, and clap. Just clap for the couple we've gone through so far. Okay, and then EW is Evelyn. Here's your car. When we looked at this last week, and right, remember one of the things I said last week was that it would be better if you paused or copy and pasted everything and just had the tree crashing through the shot in just one of those 4 copies. And I don't think we mentioned this last week, but that mountain in the background looks like a giant hand. You know, it's just something to think about. Did you want it to look like a giant hand? Everything else looks really,
it was intentional.
other than that, it looks good, right? All right, and here's your leaves. Yep, those look good. Hannah, did you all like having a week off? Pushed you guys really hard, right? And so, yeah, so this is Hannah's. I'm trying to remember if we said anything about this. Oh, I think that last week I mentioned that.
This is the clouds. If I
Yeah, try to go back in and add the clouds. It just makes it more interesting. And then your falling leaves. And totally get the idea. It's very good. Hands for Hannah. Hands. JP. 1. All right, so I don't think we saw this one last week. All right, so yeah, be careful about how you render. Always look at your QuickTime movie before you upload it, because you rendered more than you needed. I think what you've got is technically working so far, except that the cactus is crashing through the shot every time. So you need to copy and paste it like we talked about in the demo. Yeah, and your wheels are got 2 sets of timing on the wheels. So finish this one, finish that one. And your leads look okay. I think that I wanted more of a composition, more of a beginning of a narration, something a little longer than just 2 seconds. Technically, it's right. I was looking for just a little bit more. All right, and then this is Jeanette. And we looked at this one last week, I think, right? And so this is technically working correctly. You got the cactus going through every, so I think what you could do now is just copy and paste everything and then just do the cactus once. And then, one of the things that we did that I didn't catch last week was your telephone wires are nice and droopy. But then as you progress through the keys, the 4 different keys there, they get a little tighter. So your telephone pole wires tend to straighten out and then they droop down again.
Oh,
It might be better if you try to fix it and get them all to be droopy.
okay.
Your car is not going up and down. Right, you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw this last week. This is very good. And remember too that it didn't take too long to build that leaf, and so it might be fun to make ones that are different sizes and different colors. Right?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jeanette. Leo. I think we saw this last week. Did we see this last week, Leo? Dr. Leo?
I don't remember.
You might have snuck this one under the wire. That's okay. Yeah, this is working. And I think you've got that same kind of, all right, let's draw the wires really droopy and then they straighten out. See how when it's looping?
Yeah.
Everything else seems to be working pretty well. I'll probably go back in and paint the lines on the road white. And for some reason, it looks like I have 4 of you, 4 films from you. Yep, okay, that works. I might take issue with the branches on this tree, though. It looks kind of strange. Remember that I get really picky about trees. I don't want broccoli, I don't want mushrooms. Unless you're doing something in Madagascar and you have a baobab tree. This branch right here is just kind of strange. All right, and then what else did I pick from you? Oh, so this was your pendulum. I don't know why I put these in there. Oh, yeah, those are working. All right, M, Ria, Mari. All right, so let's just look at this one. So I spoke to her in a session. So here's something to just think about. This is totally working fine, right? The lines in the road are working. The car's bumping up and down. The wheels are working. The telephone poles are working. but because she followed my example of the cactus only coming up into the camera really quickly, and she did that right, it looks like it's too fast because the road doesn't curve away and go off the screen. That is like one of the primary reasons why I curved the road, so that we could cheat it a little bit. This is technically correct. If you wanted to do anything, you could go just back in there and put the cactus on ones. And at this point, you should all know what that means, right? Is there anyone who doesn't know what on ones means? Or the difference between on ones and on twos, on fours, on eights? Everyone knows, okay? So yeah, that's the only thing that you would want to put it on ones and get the cactus to be really small and coming up into the camera. I don't know if you've ever seen that cartoon where Bugs Bunny's messing with a bull in Spain, and he pisses off the bull, and the bull is like, "Arr," and he starts running up into the camera from a distance, and he's like this. He's like running, gets a little bigger, and then bam, the bull just comes right into the camera. The next thing you see is Bugs Bunny just going woo, flying off the screen. It's just the theory of perspective. All right, and then your leaves. Yeah, okay, those are working fine. Good. Moving right along. Moses. Looks like I have 4 of yours up here. Roadwork, telephone poles, stop.
That's the one
We
we
talked
looked at
about-
last week.
Yeah,
I did try to fix some things. I think that's why you have 4 of them. I'm not sure what happened.
what you did is you put 2 of them in the same place.
Mhm.
The first one and the last one. So you didn't in between it perfectly enough. Now, and we talked about this last week too.
Yeah.
Because I was talking about the Apuntia, right? That's the type of cactus you have here.
Yeah, I tried
And
to
then I
make
went
it
on
look
that
better.
long diatribe about my dad and how I forced him to throw his shirt away, if you remember. So right, everything's working. I think that your lines in the telephone poles get a little tight as well. Always when you're doing something like that, always try to remember the droop. Always try to remember the arc at which you drew them. All right, and then this should be your leaf. Oh no, I don't know why I did that. Oh, is that a different? This is a different version.
Yeah, that's the newer version that I tried fixing a bit.
No, the telephone poles are going backwards now. Boom, see that? You got to make it smooth. Follow the marks on your arc and make sure that you it's not even measuring. It's just that you're plotting it out. You're laying it out correctly. Yeah, fix your telephone poles. Everything else is working okay. Fix your telephone poles. And your leaves. And my suggestion, remember from last week, was to maybe go in and put some rough texture on the tree as opposed to painting it in, right? And did you capture what I meant by that last week?
Kind of. I rewatched I tried to like listen, but my leaf animation file got corrupted, so it merged with my drawing car, and it also has a bunch of
nice.
flashing lights.
Well, this is easy enough to redo, right?
Mhm.
So what I was kind of thinking was that you pick some sort of color, and instead of trying to paint this a solid color, pretend that there's a light source from up here, and then just go in and draw the bark.
Mhm.
Just draw the bark for where the shade and the shadow would be. So just kind of draw it there. Maybe a 1 or 2 pieces over here. And then remember the rules of chiaroscuro, so that there might be a reflected light over here. So just concentrate your shadow in this area right here, and I think it'll look better. And then you can do like the little curlicues and whatever.
Mhm.
That's kind of what I was going for. And then you could do the same in the grass. You could you get the idea of this kind of grass, but then you You know, here, what does it look like when you bring it up into the foreground? You know, you got just a couple of clumps. Something like that, just to give it some continuity. Continuity, yeah, that's what it is, continuity. Unity. All right, thank you, Moses. And then one more, I don't know what this one is. Oh, this is the second version.
That is the farthest I got before the file corrupted. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you're on the right track. Okay, hands for Moses. Hands for Moses. It sounds weird out of context. Hands for Moses. All right, this is. Who's this? Who's RAC?
It's me, Rachel.
Oh, Rachel. Okay. Oh, I see. And we, I should write that on my notes. Hold on one second. Yeah, I suggested it to you and then I forgot that I said that. All right, loop. All right, so this is the first thing I look at is just the lines in the road. And that's all working correctly. The car's working, the telephone poles are working, the cactus is working. It's good. One thing that you may want to do is just kind of look at how big these lines are, right? You did it correctly. You're going to get full credit, no problem. But I think you could have just drawn the lines on the road just a little narrower and a little shorter. They just look like giant lines. That's the only thing I see. Everything else looks good. All right, and then Rachel, your leaf. Yep, you totally got the idea. Hands for Rachel. Randy. All right, remember, Randy, stay at least 1280 by 720. I know you said something last week about exporting, but even if what we're doing here is just learning animation, but I'm going to be sending a bunch of these to Paul for the spring show. And so try your might to get at least set 1280 by 720, because this is not going to play very well. Okay, so
I could resend it.
you could, and I will look at it. There's a pause in your playback. So you copy and pasted, copy and pasted, copy and pasted. And then when you rendered your movie, you rendered too much. That's an easy fix, but the lines in the road are going backwards. Fix the lines in the road. Everything else looks good. Fix the lines in the road. Like concentrate on these lines right here. See where the mouse is? It's going backwards and forwards so that it looks like these two lines are just flip, 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 flip. So be more accurate with your measurement there. And then this one is your leaves. All right, so remember, I want a tree. So remember, find a tree, even if it's a winter tree and all the leaves have fallen, draw the branches correctly. It's a pet peeve of mine as an art teacher. You have to get in there and figure out what kind of tree that you want. The leaves are moving fine, but just draw a tree that doesn't have any leaves on it. I don't know what that is. It's a brown ghost. All right, hands for Randy. All right, and this is, who is RM? Who is calling themselves RM? I don't know who RM is. Who's RM?
Ria.
Ria? Oh, that's Ria. Oh, I see. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're allowed to throw a shoe at me if you want.
Okay, I will throw the shoe at you.
Okay, so get the face off the cactus. Okay? It doesn't match the style that you're working with, the graphic art style. You missed a telephone pole back where it starts, right? You see that? It's like so it just kind of appears out of nowhere. The other thing that you may want to do is, I'm trying to think of an easy way to do this. Well, I think the easiest way to do this would be to, now, because the car is like riding in the middle of the road. I think that there's a couple of things that you might want to think about here, and that is the shape of the back window here. So get it so that, all right, I'm just going to draw for you here. I'm going to pick my green color. I'm going to pick a red color. Where's my colors? They go underneath. Okay. So fix this telephone pole over here. You're missing this one, and maybe even one far back. So that's missing. You know, unless you're going to make this for kids, then you would want to put a smile on the car too. You'd want to anthropomorphize the car itself. So I think just keeping with the graphic continuity here, lose the face on that guy. The other thing that you want to do here is get this back window to be more like this. And because the car's going that way, you know, I think that you could fix each line in the road so that they were only half, right? And I think it would look better. The other thing that you could do is, there's only a few cars, there's only a few wheels, and you can select them and move them over to the right a little bit so that the wheels are here and that they're fitting on the road just a little better. The thing that might help this read as the tail of the car is putting in a license plate and maybe even a couple of rear lights like that. Make them red so that everybody knows they're brake lights. And then for whatever it's worth, I think that you really should get those wheels to be in perspective. I think it will help the whole aesthetic of your piece here. Is just get those wheels to actually look like they're somewhat behaving in perspective. Okay, got those notes. And then this is your leaf. Be careful, these look like pears with the stem on the wrong end of it. So just be careful. They don't quite look like leaves. They're moving like leaves and the timing is okay, but I think that you could have made them look more leaf-like. All right, hands for Ria. And this is Santiago. Is Santiago here tonight?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, yes, you are. You're here. Okay. Car, wheels, telephone pole. Okay, yeah, everything is working pretty good. And you've got that one little tendency there to straighten out the lines on your telephone pole as you get to the third and fourth drawing. I think if you were to fix that, it would be really nice. Okay, that looks good. And your leaf. Okay, looks good. Hands, please, hands, okay. Oh, and what did I do? I put that folder away.
Sorry, I have a question. Do we put if we change or update our file, do we put it in the same assignment or we put it in the other folder?
Just put it in the late or missing or redo folder. Just put it in that folder.
Okay.
This is Zaylee. And Zaylee's got the Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas theme going here. All right, telephone poles, lines in the road. So I think that you kind of started mismeasuring the lines right here, and these two, you made that mistake where they look like they're just flipping back and forth, right? You see that? The error is that it looks like it's just flipping back and forth. You know, if you do have Hunter S. Thompson or Johnny Depp as Hunter S. Thompson, it's fine for him to be driving down the middle of the road. Did you see Rango?
Yeah.
It's like a whole homage to Hunter S. Thompson as Johnny Depp. You know, everything is working fairly well. It looks like you have the first telephone pole and the last telephone pole are in the exact same place. So they stop. You see that? Flip, 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 flip.
Yeah, I was like, I was trying to like copy and paste everything and I did it wrong a couple of times.
Yeah,
It was also with the lines disappearing.
I appreciate the little highlights on your wheels. That works pretty good. You know, so now just kind of imagine getting it right and copying everything 8 to 10 times. And in the 10th one, you know, just have Hunter S. Thompson like shaking his spatula at the bats. Ah, hey. It could just add interest to it. All right, and then your leaf. Yeah, sure. This is interesting that you've got, you know, my directions were to have it fall, but you interpreted one going through the camera. That's perfectly okay. You know, I wonder if you were worried about that, but that's totally good. You know, there's a little gust of wind that blew one sideways. Why not? Wind can do that, so that looks good. All right, hands for Zaylee, everybody. All right, this is from my special effects class. Did I show you this one last week? It's from my special effects class at the Academy. We can try this. It's fun. It's a lot of work. It's on my list. It's on my list, so I'll put that one away. All right, so what I would like to do now is I'm going to pause. Let us take a look at a couple of examples of these flags. So I have them queued up just as drawings. This is probably one of the better ones that I've seen. This is coming to us from the John Hallis and Harold Whitaker book, which is again the textbook that I asked for this class. And it just looks like this. You know, that's what I picked for the school. It's a great book to learn from. It's just the absolute best. All right, and so that's.
Wait, you're not screen sharing right now.
Again, I'm doing it again. You just can't see my screen? How rude. All right, so again, the book looks like this. You know, it's a $20 book, 1995 or something. It's just a great textbook, especially for anyone who's never animated anything before. Originally written by John Hallis and Harold Whitaker, like way back in the early 80s or something like that. And it's great, so I mean, you should have that. So that's this one. And what I've done is I've just isolated that one and we've taken a look at it. So let us just think about this for a moment. And I'm gonna think with my pen. All right, so in this example, John Hallis and Harold Whitaker are talking about these little nodes. And you can see that he's talking about key number A, key number B, and then key number A again. So he's talking just about drawing number 1, basically, drawing number 5, basically, drawing number 7 and 9. And I numbered them like that because you would never just have 4 drawings. A drawing that is a key drawing is circled. And so drawing number 1 and drawing number 7 are keys. Drawing number 1 and this last drawing are the same. And so it's a drawing right there. And then this is a breakdown drawing. And so it gets a little underline underneath it. And so you go from drawing number 1, and this is an animation chart. You go from drawing number 1 into drawing number 7. And drawing number 5 is a breakdown. And the position of that is half. And so it's just a straight ahead, steady wind. And then the 3 position and the, I'm sorry, hold on a second. Let me renumber this. This is a 9 drawing. And then this would be 13. This would be 13. And then 1, so it looks like this. You go from drawing number 1 into key number 9. So these are key drawings. 5 is a breakdown. So all breakdowns get a little underline underneath them. And drawing 3 and drawing 7 are straight in-betweens. And then the next, getting back into the loop, you go from drawing 9 back into drawing number 1, but the breakdown is 13. And then there's a drawing 11, and there's a drawing 15 as well. These little indications right here indicate that this breakdown position is exactly half. So he's given you drawing number 1, drawing number 9, and then he's given you the example of what 5 looks like and what drawing 13 looks like. If you were going to follow this example, then we would need to do the in-betweens for 3, 7, 11, and 15 for a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total drawings. And 8 drawings on 2s would be 16 frame cycle. So that's a pretty good fast wind, right? There's a couple of things I want you to think about. Even though this is a really good exercise, there's a couple of things that I want you to think about. One is that they're talking about these nodes. So this little upper curve and lower curve, the first lower curve is identified with an X as a node. And it starts to move to the right. And it continues to move to the right in key number 9. In key number 9, the repeat position for it starts to come on in the cycle. And then again, going from key number 9 back into drawing 1 again, this node actually moves into a breakdown position here. And if you keep this animating, the node goes, it starts here 3/4 out, moves, gets to the end, the new one comes in, then it moves a little bit, then it goes, it will animate back to this original position. If you follow this little crease right here, this crease starts, and then it moves a little bit to the right, then it's tucked into the bottom, and then it's gone, but it's coming back already. In this drawing, it's coming back already, along with the new position of it, and then it animates back into the first position. So then let's take a look at the little X he's got down here for the lower node. And the lower node starts a little bit closer to the flagpole, and then it moves to the middle, then it moves out a little bit more. And then as it gets to this position, its new position starts. And then it comes back into the first position where this drawing would actually go away. There's a couple of things that I want you to look at. And that is this. This little edge, this little corner of the flag is right here. And then it's 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 right here. So this is a really good example, but you cannot, by any stretch of the imagination, animate however many 8 drawings within the cycle to make it 32 frames and have this corner of the flag be in the exact same place, because the wind is pushing it. It's flapping around. So you have to be very careful with this. The bottom node is here, and then it's here again, and it's here again, and then it's here again, and it's here again. So if you're not careful, you could end up inadvertently killing all of the apparent motion that's at the edge of this flag. Let's take a look at this. There's a backwards S shape right here. And then there's another backwards S shape, and then a continuing backwards S shape. And then it becomes a little bit more like an S shape, and then it goes back into the backwards S shape. So if you're not careful, and if you're using this example, again, just drawing 8 drawings, the danger would be is that what's the part of the flag that's supposed to be moving the quickest, you would actually kill all apparent motion. You would just knock out. It wouldn't move correctly. We can correct this by making sure that the arc of motion for the corner of the flag has a little arc on it. And instead of keeping it in this position, we know that there's 8 positions, and we could say, well, I want this one to be clockwise. So you just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8, and it will move correctly. And you do the thing for the bottom, the one on the bottom. You just make that one go clockwise as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and then it's not going to be locked into space. The danger would be the middle, because no part of the edge of the flag could be in the same exact place, or the apparent motion will die. So having said that, let's take a look at a couple of the other examples. So this one here, this is how to do it wrong. Just look at this, everyone. This is exactly how to do it wrong. It's got a very firm edge to the right side of the flag, and it's apparent like that in all of the other, whether they're keys or breakdowns. It's just wrong. If the wind is blowing at 15 miles an hour, the edge of the flag would be moving around quite a bit more than just this representation here. This is wrong. So if we scroll down a little bit, there's a couple other examples. In an intermediate class, or maybe even in an advanced class in animation, the instructor might have you start out with a flag that is without any wind. And the flag is just completely draped vertically. And then the wind would kick up, and then you would start to animate the cycle within the flag. So this is, I'm not going to even play this one. This is more of an advanced test. This I didn't look at. I don't want to look at it. These look like they might be interesting just because they're really simple. But let's take a look at, so this is the one we just looked at. But let's take a look at this one. This is interesting because it doesn't have the drawings in here, but it is moving correctly. All right, so did you catch that? Now, once again, I don't want to let that play too much just because it'll get scrubbed into YouTube, and YouTube people won't like it. And so that was this one. So you can see that it's kind of the same flag, and the other examples are riding underneath it here. So I want to go for some kind of flag that's like in between the complexity of this one and this one. I also, that's the same one. But I also have this one. All right, so we're going to go back to this one. Again, this one is the one that I called up right here. It comes from the Hallis book. It's really good, but the danger would be is that if you're not careful, you could kill all the apparent motion on the edge of it. And then we're going to do a different one. We're going to do like a long banner flag waving. So I'm going to go to my rough animator here. I'm going to open up a new file. 1280 by 720, say okay. All right, let me give, so this already got a background. This layer 1 here, I'm just gonna write pole. And on the background, let's just take a blue line. Let it be right there. That's my background. That's my background on the pole. I'm going to pick the pole to just be cinematic thirds, right? Cinematic thirds. So I'm going to let the pole be like right here. I'm going to give it a slight curve. Give it a little thing at the top of the pole. Let's leave it there. And I'm going to add another empty layer on top of it. This is going to be our flag. All right, so we want to be on 2, so I'm just going to make this 2s, and we're going to draw our first flag. So I want our first flag to be green. Let's pick some sort of green color. And again, we're going to pick something like between this and this. So what I want to think about here is making sure I'm drawing the right layer, and I want to just cut in a little bit of an arc here. And I'm going to go back and study it. So the first drawing here has an under curve. The drawing here has an under curve as well, so I can borrow that. So I'm going to put an under curve. I'm just sketching it, and then I'm going to put an upper curve, so it's a compound curve. All right, and then I can see that there's a little tip here. Now I think that this little edge, this corner of the flag here, stretches the flag out just a little bit too much. So I'm just going to kind of tone that one down just a little bit. Now, remember that a flag is rectangular. So what you do on the top kind of has to be on the bottom too. So get the flag to be somewhat symmetrical. If you wanted to elongate the position of, like if you wanted to put a crease in here that was going to be on an angle like you see, right? That would be fine. What that means is that the top of the curve here is now out to the right just a little bit more. And that's, in this example, this corner of the flag is kicking outwards. It looks to me like I'm narrowing the flag just a little too much here. So I'm going to Z out of it just a little bit. And I'm going to bring it down just a little bit. All right, and then I'm going to just kind of maybe get it to be like that. And then the example has a backwards S shape. So I'm just going to put like a backwards S shape. And maybe this one kind of crosses over it just a little bit, something like that. And the reason why I did that is because then it will be easier for you to see that this crease animates into this position, right? So now, just like we did before, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add an arc layer. And we're going to do a couple of things within our arc layer. We're going to identify just this node here. And we're going to identify this node here, keeping in mind that there's a slight cant to this. And then we're going to pick this lower node and this lower node. And that color is not really too different. So let me brighten it up a little bit. All right, so we want to do this in 8 drawings. So we're gonna, and the drawings are going to be on 2s. So, and this is on my, so I've drawn this on my arc layer. So what I want to do is on my arc layer, I want to start counting. On my arc layer, I'm going to pick something, a color that's just more in the black range so I can count. So this is our drawing number 1. So the next thing that we want to do here is figure out what's going to happen with the corner of this flag and this corner of the flag. So with a thing here, so how does the tip of the flag move within an arc? It probably moves something like this. It probably moves in an oval that's something like this. And the bottom could be something like this too. You could make it just a little bigger. And then we can count. So this is the first position for where the corner of the flag is. And then this is the first position for the right down corner. All right, so now, and remember we did that on the arc layer, so we can always just kind of turn it off. All right, so back on our flag layer. What we're going to do now is we're going to pick our green up again. And we're going to go add in this one, we're in the flag layer, we're going to add a drawing after it. And there's a couple of things that you want to do here. So we're going to bring the arc, the background out to 16 frames. We're going to take the pole and bring it out to 16 frames. Oops, hold on. There we go. All right, 16 frames. So what we're going to do is we're going to animate what would be the opposite of this. And some of these examples you can see, like let's just pick this one because it's kind of easier to understand the wave, is that this position in the wave moves from here to there, and then it catches back up on itself again. So, and that's true of all of the examples. So on our arc layer, what we can do is, remember, we're gonna write the number 8. We want 8 frames here. And so what you can actually do is you can measure the distance between the left and the right side. And here we are in the middle. And it's okay to start in the middle rather than starting at the end. It's sometimes just a little easier to understand it. So this would be the indications for 3 different positions of this upper node. Let's just keep calling it a node. So if we wanted to, we could just divide this into 8 equal sections. So we got 1, 2, and I'm just going to do this slightly, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 would be here. So I've got 3 and 2. I mean, the timing is okay. The spacing is okay. It should work out fine. If you wanted to adjust this one just a little bit more, you could just make it right in between there. So that gives you an idea of where the node is going to be. And so, like I said, if you follow this little wave thing, you can kind of get hypnotizing because you don't know where you are. You don't know exactly where each one of those nodes is. So let's just keep going here. Let's animate our flag. Using these little indicators here. So on this flag drawing right here, with the onion skin turned on, and I don't know why it's turned on. Oh, wait.
I think it's the opacity.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. There we go. All right, so one way to do it then is to just take this node, and it's going to be right here. So the node is moving to the right. And the other thing that you want to do maybe on the arc layer, and we'll pick up that green color here in just a second again, but let's put like a bright node here on the arc layer on the arc layer that just reminds us that that node is moving like that. It's moving to the right. So that's the overall direction it's moving to the right. Okay, and it's only moving quarter of an inch or so. And so that's true of this node too. It's going to move a quarter of an inch and then connect it back always to this corner. This corner is not going to move. So let's just connect this line up. And then what we should do here is, now that we know that we've got 8 drawings along this arc here, let's draw these positions in here. And I'm going to zoom in so we can see them a little bit closer. So I want 8 positions. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And we could do the same thing for the bottom. 1 is here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So that tip of the flag is gonna go on that arc. You know, just make it simple for yourself. It's flip, flip, flip. I don't think that you would want one to go clockwise and the other to go counterclockwise. It might be kind of hard to follow. All right. So now that you've got that little node moving out about this far and this node moving out about that far, there's a couple of things that as animators you want to pay attention to. These lines should never be on top of each other. If they are, then any apparent motion will just stop. So you got to be careful when you get out here. So this corner is going to come down. So bring this right into it, just like that. And take this crease and move it out about this far, right? This far. Move it out about that far. I'm going to take the opacity down on the arc just a little bit. Just about right there. And the bottom. So this is moving out about this far. It's got to connect. In fact, this is a trace back. This line right here, you just always trace it back in the exact same position. And a trace back will end up wiggling around a little bit. And so don't copy and paste that line, because then you'll kill all the motion. All right, so then this is the one that's a little tricky here, because this one actually breaks apart and the new upper arc starts just a little bit right there. Just a little bit right there. So remember that if our node is going to move about a quarter of an inch or so. All right, just do the same thing down here that you did up on the top one and get the upper arc to move just a little bit to the right. These lines should cross over each other. That's absolutely correct. Let them cross over to each other. And then the tip is down here. And so let those. So now you got to figure out what the edge of the flag looks like. You've identified where the corner is. This is going to move out to about here. It's going to, so that little crease is going to move out here and then connect it to this and then figure, oh, look, it's like there might be a chance to just draw an arc like that. And it's okay if the corners are somewhat different from each other, because that's where the rectangle that is the flag has the most motion in it. All right, let's continue. All right, so, and I'm going to turn the opacity of the flag down just a little bit too, so we can see it. All right, so now we're here. Now we're here. So draw this upper node first, draw this lower node as well first, and then get it to cross over each other. Copy the exact position for the flag along the flagpole. And then this upper node, it's a new one. It's moving to the right. So get those to cross over each other. Leave just a little bit of a gap right there. Identify where drawing 3 is. 3 is here. So get this node to just curve and point down at it. So just, and you're kind of like, what you're going to have to do is kind of like look at this and go, what is the best look of this? So I'm just going to keep this as one continuous arc right there. And because the edge of the flag is not going to really move backwards and forwards too much, now I'm going to start backwards. Now I'm going to have this flag be right there. Let's do the bottom. This node starts about right here. This node's about right here. Let them cross over each other. Draw the crease in there. This node moves to the right as the same kind of spacing as all the other ones. Where drawing number 3 is here. So this is going to point right at it. And let's turn the overall onion skin down just a little bit. Let's turn this back up. I want to see where my flag. Okay, so now that this is here, this is going to go the other way. So we're going to have a little counter action here. This crease just told me that I want a nice shape like this. And remember that you can get away with a whole bunch of different things right here at the end of the flag itself. All right, let's add one more drawing. We're going to start here. We're just going to copy the part of the flag that is not moving around too much. We're going to put the crease in there. We're going to take this. Now we're on drawing number 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is here. And so that's the best way to do it. Just get the lower and the upper node working. Make sure that those little distances are about the same. And drawing number 4 is here. So now this flag it's like flipped underneath itself just a little bit. It's flipped over. So it's right here. And then drawing number 4 is here so that it might just roll right into this 4th position like that. Same thing here. Now we're off the arc just a little bit, so try to bring that back up. Remember the yellow arc right there? This goes to the right and connects. This moves to the right and connects. Now we can start bringing the new downward node right there and then connect this. And at some point, we're going to have to get this crease to start again. We probably have to start it in at least the next drawing or the drawing after that. Now I'm adjusting this line because it's right on top of the drawing before it, and that would kill all the motion in it. All right, so let's take our onion skin down just even a little more, just because I want to see what this looks like. So I think that if we added a little curl like this, it might be nice. It's starting to look like the flag, and we might want to even show the other side of the flag. This part of the node moves to the right, and now we're going to start seeing the under node coming in. Roughing it in here. All right, now we're on drawing number 5. All right, so drawing number 5 is, let's start with the corner. It's here. And so this is almost gone. So this upper node is there. This is here, and it's going to move out, and it's going to point at 5. So let's just go right straight through it. And 5 is here now. So if we get the edge of the flag to be kind of like this, and let's bring this one so that it curls over just a little bit more. And then do what you can with the shape of that edge of the flag. This is here. That one's there. And then the under arc is here. Go ahead and trace this back. And then remember that this is what you just started on this drawing here. This under node has got to continue to the right, just by about 1/4 of an inch. It connects right to the same clipping point. Just straight, we curve out these lines to make sure that they look like a flag. And that it's not just a piece of tissue paper blowing in the wind. It always helps to think about the thing you're animating. All right, and then this crease is about right here. You can start diminishing that crease. Let's add a drawing after. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start with this upper node, and remember this overall spacing here. And it's this position here where we can start the crease again. That's going to wind up right there. We might change that. Let's take a look. 2 more drawings. I changed my mind. I'm gonna, if we wanted to make a mark, it would be like right here maybe. All right, let's trace this back. Get this node to move just a little bit to the right. Connect it to the flagpole. Just my intuition is that this little undulation right here might be a little much. It's a little more complicated than just 3 curves, but we can play with it just a little bit. All right, so now we're on drawing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is back under here. So the edge here is going to be pushed to the left a little bit. And 6 is up here. So what we might want to do here is just get it to roll like that. This thing tips back out again. And it's going to go down like that. All right, 2 more drawings. Let's trace this back first. All right, and we're on drawing number 7. So that is here. All right, so I'm gonna just sketch this in just a little bit, because what we have to do is we have to make sure that it matches up to the first drawing. All right, and drawing number 7 is here. So if we get this 7 position here and this one like this, I think it should be okay. And then this bottom arc is going to go right into it here. But what we're going to do now is we're going to go back to drawing number 1. We're going to pick some crazy turquoise color, some strange turquoise color. And we have to be back on drawing number 1. And we have to be on the arc layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to just trace the original flag for the position 1 on, make sure you're doing it on the arc layer. Get the crease in there. because it's got to cycle. It's got to animate into this position. No matter what all the crazy stuff we did, it has to, whatever this last drawing that we do here has to in between into this drawing. And we might have to go back and correct the drawings that we did on drawings number 5, 6, and 7 just a little bit, because we're technically animating straight ahead. All right, so now that that's on the arc layer, let's go back here and hopefully we can see it. I'm going to turn the opacity up just a little bit. My glasses off so I can see it. All right, so I'm going to turn the opacity off. For the arc, I'm going to turn it all the way up. Okay, I see it. See the turquoise? So I see it right there. All right, so then on the flag layer, a new drawing, we have to make sure that when we pick that color back up again, hold on. All right, I lost the registration for where that turquoise went. Okay, so now I see it again. And so I want to get the red animated into the 8th position here. So the corner that the 7 corner is here, the 8 corner is here, and I'm just going to start right there. Make sure you're drawing on the right layer. And so I'm just going to get that part working first. Just scrub it in. All right, and then the 7th position is here, and the 8th position is here. So get those 2 working first. And if there's motion going from the left to the right, then I want this to be to the left of it and go into the 7th position. And this like that. All right, so now let's get the in between. So we're going from the red into the blue. We're going from the red into the blue. Copy the line that's attached to the flagpole. We're going from the red that's into the blue. And like I said again, we probably have to go back and make a couple of adjustments. All right. Let's see what we've got. Let's take our arc, turn it off. Let's take our onion skin, turn it off. Oh, I missed a part. All right, so just looking at it, I'm not catching any anomalies. I can see that there's a nice bit of rotation on the bottom, and the apparent rotation on the top is working. The trace back of these part of the flag that's attached to the flag pole itself is moving around just enough. And I see that we've got like an extra little wiggle in there, which is nice. You know, it's kind of an anomaly. In this example here, you know, it's just straight across. The wind is like so uniform. So this one gives us a little bit of place to play with an extra little wiggle. In other words, what I'm saying is that when you turn my onion skin off, So on this particular frame right here, we added this little wiggle in here. And because of that, the wind is just kind of going along with it a little bit. You know, it doesn't look like I picked up the right color. Let me onion skin this. It's a little better. All right. All right, so let's look at it again. All right, so this is flashing. That line that I just drew right there is flashing. So if we want to keep this, right? So let's just look at that one more time. What I'm seeing is that it's only on for one drawing. See it? Flip, 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 flip. See it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify its position. I'm going to turn my onion skin back on. And I want to make sure that it's in the next drawing. So again, if we bring our arc on, remember that this is the main measurement. And so that line that was here should be moving just here. And just make it a little bit. And in the next drawing, you can make it just a tiny little bit so that it goes away. This is where it was. Now go back a frame and draw it here, which makes sense because it's kind of at the top of the arc. It doesn't have to connect to that line. And then maybe back again, you can draw this one here. And then on this one, maybe just a tiny little bit. And let's see what that looks like. All right, so you can see what we've got there. What I would do is make another layer. So on this flag layer, I would add a drawing layer. Oops, hold on. An empty layer on top of it. And I would maybe F_C for cleanup. I'm going to go back to the pole. And with this pole color kind of deal, I'm going to add in the little grommet that holds the flag. And I'm going to draw this one downward so that it's fitting into a hole. And then we could just see a little bit of on the back side. And then you can kind of drive in the pole just a little deeper. All right, so let's go back to 100%. On the background layer, you don't have to do anything with it, but let's just kind of just leave the flagpole right there. Let's look at the flag, what it looks like at this position. Okay, so I'm happy with this. On this cleanup layer here, maybe with a completely different color, like a dark blue or a purple or something, what I would do is I'd go through here, and I'm going to just zoom back in again because it's easier to see it, is get this line first. And what you can do is you can establish that line on every single drawing, but you've got most of what you need. So let's just take, yeah, I took the onion skin all the way down. So this is a crease, so don't make it just a solid line. This starts at the top of the grommet. Try to keep your line nice and tight. And that there's no breaks in it. You can paint it. If you have a gap in that line, you might have to fill it in before you actually paint. All right, so one of the things that I want to just recommend to you is playing with the idea of straight ahead. Many instructors will have you animate in one position as a key and then another into a breakdown and then do in-betweens from that. But this one you might have luck with just kind of following what I did and animating straight ahead. All right, so once again, you start here and the reason you just want to do this is that your hand will have memory. You know, if you draw the same kind of parts. Oh, and then remember too that you have to draw around the grommet, so you have to draw the little hole, or it won't paint correctly. So then when you're here, draw that hole can wiggle around a little bit, that's for sure. And when you're doing this, now you've got another thing to look at with both your arc and the rough drawing, which you know is working. This would be so much easier if I could rotate my stage. All right, and then the reason why you want to do this, to keep the shapes close when you paint it, is that you're gonna understand what the animation would look like if it's got like a really red pirate color or something like that against a different color background. What might end up happening is if the differential of position is great, it's great enough, the end of the flag might it might stagger, it might stutter. Right, so and then I want to do this part in real time just so that you can see what it would look like. Draw that loop. It's hard for me to try to hit it in one line. I'm going to try. It's just a little too slippery. Connect it to 3. Think about the flag. Right, that's the part. There might be a little crease there, but remember that if you draw a crease right here, you didn't have one here, then it would pop or it would go backwards. So, you know, the idea of putting in a little element on something, you've got to follow through with it with the frame before and the frame afterwards, or two, to make sure it doesn't pop, to make sure that it animates through your form. All right, just once again, just remind yourself that this, what you're doing here technically is what's called tracing back. When you're doing this part of the line, so you want it to be roughly in the same place. You want it to be a closed shape. This one here, this one here. We're about halfway done with the tie down. One of the reasons why I wanted to do it in real time here was just to talk about things like this. This end of the flag here. We're on the drawing number 4. So the end is here and it looks a little billowy. I think that it would be wrong. It would be wrong to try to put a geometric shape in here. It does look like the end of the flag is catching a lot of air right there. And one thing that you can do is so this is the 4 position here. And we kind of cheated it by bringing it this way. So that's okay. That means that this arc is just stretched a little bit. Just kind of redirected your imagination as you were going along, which is the idea of spontaneity, which is the idea of animating straight ahead. That principle of animation is not the easiest thing to do, but we're trying. All right, so remember, draw this first, draw that little loop. All right, so this is drawing number 5, and so I'm back under there. So now if you wanted to kind of give a little roll like that, I think that would be fine. Make sure that it's cut enough that it doesn't look like a mistake. And we're following through with this little flap over here. When I'm drawing this, I'm looking at where the edge of the flag might be up there. My intuition is that if I kept this part of the flag to the right as much as I did, it may end up looking like the flag is stretching a little bit, and you don't technically want that. All right, it looks like I might have skipped. Nope, I did okay. All right, add a drawing after. Always do this first. All right, so one of the other things I wanted to say here is that even though both of these tips right here we're supposed to be on drawing number 6, we're not really hitting 6. So what you might want to do is, if you go backwards a drawing, remember that this part is going backwards here. What you could do is make a little indication for yourself here to like do a little rollover and just make a mark like that just to see if it pops. All right, 2 more. And the last drawing. I'm going to leave that right there just for a second. Let's see if it actually works. I might have to fix that. This is drawing 7. No, it's drawing 8. Okay. We're in the right place. Oop. All right, so I don't even need to look at the other drawing. This is a little funky right here. I don't think that you would have 2 creases, so I'm just going to take that out. All right, so let's go back through. Before we look at it, let's just kind of see if we missed anything. Let's turn the opacity down on the first flag and then just go through this, see if we missed anything frame by frame. Kind of missed this little bit. Oops, I'm erasing. Strengthen this a little bit. Strengthen this a little bit. And let it go. Let's go back to the first one again. And I'm just kind of toggling through it, going backwards. You know, I could put this here just so that it doesn't pop out of nowhere. I could put another one right here. Let's try this. Let's just kind of make a little crease right here. It kind of belongs to this one a little bit. We got to follow through with it. And I'm pointing it at this one. All right, and then do we need one in the first one? I think we're okay. So let's take a look at it. All right, so we've got a little wiggle there. I can see that the one thing that we did to the edge of the flag right here might work. So let's, and that's drawing number 11. So let's get this little crease and fall over to work. And let's make it just a little bit more pronounced even. So let's just kind of give it a straighter edge because the tip of the flag is behind it. Let's see how that looks. We might have to fix it. And it's not catching my eye. So that's just a regular flag with 8 drawings, 16 frame cycle, a little bit of embellishment, some creases everywhere. I think it's working. You don't have to embellish the background if you don't want to. In this one, I might think that just the edge of the flag over here is getting a little thinner. So let me just take a look at that frame by frame. Yeah, I think it gets a little thin right here. So if I picked like a red color here and I just like, what would happen if I made an adjustment and brought this line down just a little bit and this line down just a little bit, and then on the next one I brought it down just a little bit. So we're kind of looking at the overall aesthetic of the flag. It's just looking a little thin right there, and we're we're breaking our own rules of following the arc right there, but that's okay. So what would happen if we brought it down just a little bit? And that one's okay. So let's see what it looks like if that red actually belongs there. I think it would be okay. So that would be like a little adjustment that I might do, is because that flag was just looking a little thin on the end right there. So that would be my little fix to that one. All right, everyone got this idea? Let me go back to the class. Have any questions, comments, complaints, conundrums, observations?
I have a question.
Yes.
If we wanted to draw the flag in slower wind, would we just do like the same thing but increase the in between like drawings between the ending and the beginning? Like let's do a 20 frame cycle.
So you were like doing keys and breakdowns and in-betweens kind of thing?
Yeah.
All right,
Like
so yeah, that's a great question. Let me show you how to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the arc layer, I'm just going to show you how to do that, just like over here, right? I'm going to bring the opacity back up. And so if you had an arc and that this was drawing number 1, and this is drawing number 1 over here as well. So like if we go back to this idea right here about doing breakdowns and in-betweens, the idea would be is that you would then in some other color say, well, we're going to do this as the other key. So we know this would be drawing number 1. You would have 3, 5, 7 as a key. And then it's moving to the right as well. I'm just trying to figure out the numbers. So 9, 11, 13, and 15. So if this 15 drawing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If this 15 drawing was the same as 1, then the 7 drawing is here. That would be your key. So we're going to go from this position into this position in 8 drawings. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold on, I screwed up the numbering again. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17. I apologize. But this would be drawing number 1. I'm sorry. This would be drawing number 9. That's the key. And then if you wanted to do the breakdown, this node is moving from here to there on this arc. And so it's halfway, right? See, it's moving halfway. So you put it here, and then you in between this line going into this one. And then you these would cross over each other. And then this line is going to move downwards. So this is moving over to here. So the breakdown would look like this. I'm sorry, this. What did I do wrong? I did something wrong. Hold on a second. This has to stay static. And so the wave, this position moves into here. This is your 5 position. And then it's moving downwards, so it would have to be something like that. And then if you were going to do the 3 drawing, 3 drawing goes here. So the 3 is just a straight in between. And it goes right in between those 2 forms and then ends up here. Now, if you're going to do the 13 drawing, 13 drawing is going to go from 5 into 9. From 9 back into 1. So this 9 back into 1 again. So what you're doing is you're bringing the node to the right for each one of those positions like that. And you're creating a new node here. So that as this node here goes into the red position, it's also now becoming a downwards node. So it's moving down and across at the same time. So it's just, if you follow the example like this one, you can kind of see it. It's the same thing I just drew, that the darker one is the lighter one is drawing number 1, and then it gets a little darker, and then you can see that this part of the node right here is, it's new and it's moving down. So it's almost counterintuitive, Moses, that in drawing 1, you had this upper arc, and the upper arc is going to actually move to the right. But because drawing 5 starts to have this downwards arc to it, by the time you hit drawing number 9, it looks like it flipped over itself on itself already. And then in drawing 13, which is basically a breakdown between 9 and 1 again, it moves across. So, and then each one of these would technically need an in-between. It would be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13. And then you would probably need 15 to get back into 1. 15 and 16. So that would be a total of 8 drawings. And remember that this is just good for showing you how to do in-betweens and for the shape movement and timing, but not for the end of the flag. Do not use this one except for just understanding how to do the technical in-betweens like I just showed you right there. All right, everyone okay? All right, so there are 2, I put in 2 flags. Let's just talk about this one just for a second. I'm going to save this. This is going to be flag 9. I'm going to save it. All right, so what I want to do is I want to talk about a different kind of flag, and this one might look completely and totally daunting, and it's like, how are we supposed to do this? But it's, as soon as you understand the principle that we just went through, it's the same thing. So let's kind of look at this one. I'm going to take the arc layer and turn it off, and the arc 2 layer and turn it off as well. All right, so what I've got is a flag that has multiple arcs to them. And I think that if you're understanding just exactly the way the arcs move, it's not any completely different thing at all. So if I just look at I have to figure out what color this is. All right, it's the red color. All right, so what I've done is I've just taken a long ribbon flag, and I've indicated on the arc layer that this is an upper node to it, and what I'm indicating where the node on the upper node is, and there's also a little crease, a little flyover here. And so I'm indicating, so these are roughly equally spaced. You know, it looks like it's actually slowing down a little bit. That's okay. So what I've done is I've just done this flag. I just drew it in there. And what I've also done is drawn this little crease over and this crease over as well. And that's my first keyframe. So what this looks like then is that I'm going to only have 8 drawings. On my arc layer, I know that I've got to go from this position here. Oops, hold on a second. This position right here, back into this position again, and into this one. But what I've done is I've given myself an intermediate. So instead of a total of like 16 drawings, I'm going to animate this upper node with a little blue dot into this position here, intermediate, I'll put like a little I, in 8 drawings. And then I'm going to come here. It's almost like you're doing 2 in-betweens at the same time. It's almost like you're doing 2 cycles within the same 8 drawings, just kind of like we did with the car. And so we're going to go from this position here into, I lost my timing here, just about the middle, and then back into it again. Instead of just a simple circle, this one's going to have a circle 8. All right, so having said that, what we're going to do is, if I look at this first flag drawing, and again, I'm recording this so you can go back and look at it, is that I am on 4s. We're not on 2s. So if I have 8 drawings on 4s, there's a total of 32 frames here. So it's moving a little slower. So my first flag is here. And on my arc, I've indicated the hash marks for all positions where all those positions are going to be. So if I go to the second keyframe, I can see that it's moving just that much. This node right there. And I'm going to go to the third keyframe right there. Fourth keyframe right here. And I'm just looking at this area right here. Fifth keyframe, 6th, 7, and 8. Right? And then this is my last keyframe. Now let's look at a different part of it. Now let's look at this crease. So this crease moves into here. You can see that the distance is like an 1/8 of an inch. And then the next one better move here, and then it's going to move here, and then it's going to move there, and it's moving out, and now it starts to crease over. See that? And now we have 2 more drawings to get from this into this, which is our first frame again. So again, we were just watching this crease. Let's watch this crease again. It's going from here to here to here, moving, 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 and the first drawing again is right here. So now let's look at this crease. And I just darkened it in a little bit. So it's going to go from this position into this position in 8 frames, 8 drawings. One, it's going to move that far, right there. Then it moves out, and you can kind of see from my arc that my arc layer that I left that mark right there. Here, there. This is drawing number 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's right there. It's the 8 and drawing number 1. The whole time, the tip, watch the tip of the flag. It starts at 1, and I'm going to just draw this on the, oops, hold on. So this circle 8, it's moving in a counterclockwise fashion first, and then a clockwise fashion second. So let's just look at the tip. And the tip on drawing number 1, hold on one second. It's right here, and it's going to go this way. So I don't have the numbers on there. I could put the numbers on there. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So on the flag, so we're just looking at that rollover. It's going to go this way first and then circle 8. So it goes up, and it could go out even a little more. You know, it's not following my directions. I might have changed my mind when I was doing this. So I killed the arc a little bit. It's going to the left, it's going up, it's going down and around. So I actually, I indicated it that it was going, but it's going the opposite way. It's going on the arc layer, it's actually going. It's going opposite of what I just told you. Yeah, so it's my computer is running out of memory again, just like I did last night. All right, so this is wrong here. It's actually going this way and then this way. So from the, so if we're just studying the tip and it's catching up, hold on a second. All right, so this is nice to introduce that little circle 8 in there. And again, my arrows are backwards. I apologize for that. And it's eight drawings. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 arcs instead of 2. And I think that as long as you can get it, you're understanding the idea of how to time out the positions, just getting from here to here in 8 drawings, and from here to here in 8 drawings, from here to here in 8 drawings, and from here to here at the end in 8 drawings, then you know that all you have to do is 8 complete drawings. So let's just look at this one more time. So what we're going to do is we're going to follow this blue node again. And again, the yellow is the direction that that node has to go. And then it's going to follow on the yellow again. So just, it's going to move from here to about right where my mouse is on the next frame. Then it's going to move to about right here. Then it's going to move to about right there. And so it's just a little bit. So this is drawing number 6. Number 7 and number 8 is right there. And then this is drawing number 1 again. So now we follow this little blue dot one more time. And it's going to go from this position 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's going to go backwards. So for this one, it's going 1, drawing 2, it's right here where my mouse is, drawing 3, it's continuing to the right, drawing 4 is here, drawing 5 is here, 6, 7, and 8, which is right here. Now, I know that didn't quite follow. So let me see if I can follow it just a little more carefully. Oh, I'm sorry. What happened here is that I backed up this blue dot so that this crease is what actually rolls over. So from this position, it goes into here, then it'll go to about here, and then a little further, that's drawing 4, it's drawing 4, drawing 5, and you can see that the crease is starting now, and it's got to get all the way over here. 6, 7, and 8 is right here. And then it continues by drawing number 1. So it went 1 from the crease, it went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then it caught up to itself again. So let's follow this crease right here. It's going to do exactly the same thing. And the yellow is the arc of motion for this crease. So it's going to move all the way from that position to this position. And for this one, it might be easier to animate these little creases first, and then to add the flag on top of it. This is the 3rd position, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th, which should get into this position on the first drawing. So for this one out, if you try this, is just draw this ribbon flag so it has 4 top nodes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Draw the flag out, draw my little timing like I've got it so that you're following your own measurements. 1, 2, 3, 4 top nodes, and that it's going to move. And I think that these numbers that I was drawing in here was just me kind of thinking aloud. But the actual timing is like, this is drawing number 2, drawing number 3, drawing number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then this is drawing 1. Same thing. Drawing number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And so you make that timing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Get this little loop working and give it a go, give it a try. At speed, it has a nice little effect to it that you're doing the same exact thing that you did on the other flag. But this one has just got 4 nodes on top instead of 2. And you're using a circle 8 pattern on a banner shape rather than just the edge of the flag itself going in a circle. This one looks better. All right, now you have to have questions about this one. No one has questions about this one.
Does the circle 8 at the end always have to be in the same orientation that you have it?
When you do it, it should be something like I have it.
Okay.
I'm trying to find a good word. It is the wind and the flag interacting with each other. It's the fact that the tip of the flag has to move around. And so, and it can't disappear either. It's not like we're witnessing magic here. The very tip of the flag has to do something. And if it flips backwards and forwards on itself, that's like the really cool part of animation. It's really the best part of animation. Like I said, the easiest way to do this would be is to draw your first flag, draw your timing out there, like I have it on my arc. So you draw your flag, draw your timing, draw the circle 8, and the circle 8 can go either way you want. It can go counterclockwise and then clockwise, or the other way. It's just that when I drew those little arrows, I did them backwards. So, and then what you can do is you can figure out where the crease is. So on my very first drawing, I knew that the measurement, this overall measurement from this top node right here into the next one, I had to allow for the crease. So I started the crease backwards just a little bit. And that's what you saw me doing with this shape right here, is I was actually animating this shape right. Oh, hold on a second. That touched the right layer. Is I was animating the crease first, and you can see it coming on. See it right here? So in the very second drawing, the crease is already coming on, and I probably went backwards and did that backwards so that it's going to go, and it's going to move about the same distance for each new position. So give it a try. And I think that the other thing, just a reminder, would be is that these green yellow lines here are dictating where the top of the arc, where the node is actually moving. So you don't want it to, like, you wouldn't want this thing to just go like this, right? You want it to kind of just go like a ribbon moving sideways, because if it was going up and down, it would just be too much to control at the same time. For your second attempt at a flag, this is plenty complicated enough, right? This is good. You do something like this, following basic same principles that you just had with this one, and all of a sudden you've gone up an intermediate step. And this is exactly the same thing. You're following nodes that go from the left to the right, and it's just that you're doing like a little bit of it. And the difference here was that this flag is on 2s and this one's on 4s. The wind is blowing slower. It's a longer ribbon flag. Challenge yourself. See how far you can get. This one should take you about an hour and a half. This one should take you about an hour and a half. This one should maybe take you 2.5 hours. Right? This one take about an hour and a half. It's easy. Once again, just as a triple, quadruple reminder, this diagram, this drawing here is showing you how to do keys into breakdowns, into in-betweens is fine, but don't animate this flag. I will find out where you live and I will bury things in your front yard. But this one's better, but you have to really pay attention to make sure that the corners aren't locked into space and time. All right, so having said that, let me